Hello, I am Diana Loderhose, International Features Editor here at Deadline. We are at our Red Sea studio here in Jeddah for the Red Sea Film Festival, and I'm delighted to be here with Sharon Stone. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
My pleasure.
So this is your second year at the festival, and it hasn't officially, well, it starts today, the second edition. But after you came here last year, I wondered kind of upon reflection, what were some of the takeaways you had from last year's edition, having been here for the first time?
Well, it's really interesting. You know, people are very opinionated about places they've never been and things they've never seen. And I like to go all over the world. And I'm a person who's traveled to many, many places, and I had never been to Saudi Arabia. I'd been to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but I'd never been to Saudi. And Saudi is so intriguing because it's an emerging country. And, you know, as our country is sort of divesting itself of being a first world country, now we're considered a second world country on the global map. It's really interesting to see as we, as women, lose our rights. Here in Saudi, women are gaining their rights. And it's so intriguing to watch how this is happening. My very good friend, Jerry Inzarello, is kind of the architect of this. I met him when we were both living in South Africa during apartheid. And Jerry was the person who was the architect of We Don't Play Sun City. And we all worked with Mandela and Tutu to get through the apartheid era and to create a better South Africa. And then Jerry went to the Bahamas and worked on Atlantis and brought the James Bond pictures down there. And he helped me a lot with AMFAR. And we did a lot of our AMFAR studies down through the Bahamas and so forth. And then Jerry became the head of the Fortune 500 luxury hotel chain. And then he was hired to come here and start to build out the new Saudi Arabia. So I've known a lot about this build out of Saudi Arabia through Jerry. And last year when I came here, I went to Riyadh first to the opening of the new UNESCO site in Riyadh. And so I've had this opportunity to watch the UNESCO development and the general development of what's happening in Saudi Arabia, it's just absolutely fascinating. And Jerry, for his team, hired, so really the majority of his hires were women. And so, of course, women had to drive and women had to do everything in order to build this new Saudi Arabia. And it's just been so exciting and so interesting to observe and to see how this country is developing. You know, when I was in Africa, it was 1984. And, you know, we watch how countries grow and change. And it's very intriguing and exciting to watch this country grow and change. And when you come in here to this festival and you see this movie theater is, I mean, we don't have movie theaters like this. Our movie theaters have been compressed and destroyed. And this is a movie theater we might liken to like a Ziegfeld theater of yore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable to see. I mean, you have to buy tickets and wait in line to even get to come to a movie here. It's that exciting new time of film, and the film studios here are huge and wonderful. And, you know, 2 of the 6 nominated females in Cannes came from here, came from films made here. And so you start thinking about, and it's terrible to say, but as we're losing our rights in America, I mean, when I did Basic Instinct, I wanted to direct a film and I got laughed out of the studio. And now you look at, you know, 2 of the 6 women that had their films nominated in Cannes were women that were funded out of Saudi Arabia.
It's incredible.
And so people say, well, how could you go to Saudi Arabia and look at all those injustices in Saudi Arabia? And I think, I don't know, I felt like it was pretty unjust that I couldn't direct in America.
Exactly. No,
Right?
it's-
So I can't really have these kind of compressed views when I'm watching emerging countries take such powerful and interesting stands.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up about, because I was going to ask you as well how much, the industry has changed, obviously, a lot since you were in Basic Instinct.
Not
And
as much as I would
Well,
really think that it should.
that's what I was going to say, actually. I was going to ask, how
No.
much do you think it's changed and how much has it not changed? Like, what are the things that you think are kind of positive and way
Well,
the industry's moved forward, and
let's
what
say
are the negatives?
30 years ago when I did Basic Instinct, Michael Douglas made $14 million and I made $500,000. Last year, there was a $100 million film being made by a studio, and the actor, who was new, was going to be paid something like $8 or $9 million. Someone we don't really know, and the studio offered me again $500,000 to be the female lead. And I thought, 30 years later, this is still happening. So I didn't think it changed much. And I turned it down, and the studio head said, well, good luck to you, Sharon. And I said, well, good luck to you. And 2 weeks later, he was fired. So I just felt like, how much has it changed? Not enough.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tub thumping about the gender parity gap kind of closing. And of course, we've had like the success of Barbie, directed by a woman. It was a big blockbuster starring a woman. That's very encouraging. But are those,
But the talk
Little
about
fleet-
it wasn't encouraging.
what do you mean by that?
Oh, I'm not seeing Barbie. Are you seeing Barbie? I don't know. And then, you'd have a cowboy on Instagram saying, well, I saw Barbie. It was
Yeah.
like this conversing about, well, a macho guy could see Barbie. I don't know why you can't. It was still this sort of chest thumping about if you could see it or not see it.
Yeah.
As if it was somehow going to deflate your masculinity if you watched a film.
It's incredible
It's
that it hasn't moved on. Do you see yourself ever starring in a major film or TV
Again?
series again? Do you think that's something? You have an audience and a big fan base out there.
I mean, at this point, I would love to do a television series. I really would. Just the right one.
Have you had any offers? You must have.
I think it's quite possible that I might do one in the not too distant future. We're talking about it.
Anything you can divulge? Any kind of
I
little?
don't think that I should.
Okay,
I never feel that until the ink is dry, it's wise to do that.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, listen, I wanted to just say thank you so much for being here today, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.